Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem.
Good morning, race fans. Welcome to today at the races at Pimlico. I'm Naomi Tucker, joined by Keith Fustel. 8 races on tap. And of course, Keith, in race 3, we have that big pick 6 carryover once more.
There it is. There it is. We're hedging towards $1 million, right? We're getting closer and closer.
Are.
974, 564, 975,000. Well, that's what we'll call it today on a rainy day in Baltimore.
It is quite rainy indeed. You can tell we're off the turf, sloppy going. And of course, do go to equibase.com to check out all the changes and scratches, because there are a fair few because we aren't racing on the turf. A big weekend ahead of us nonetheless. But of course, first, the Stronach 5 starts in race 8 here. We know on Fridays we have a lot of action, and one of them is one of the best bets across the nation. Maryland Jockey Club, that's us right here at Pimlico, kicks things off. Race number 8, leg A. Gulfstream Park has 2 legs in here. They are leg B and then the final leg as well, race 6 and race 8. And in between we have Golden Gate Fields and Santa Anita Park. I created a ticket for us as well, which we'll go over in a little bit. But we have a big weekend coming up, don't we, Keith?
We
Summer
do.
Stakes.
We do, on Sunday. And Trish Bowman and everybody down in that racing office, they did a great job. Really quality card lined up for Sunday, June the 13th. And we were just talking before we went on air about what was it, the Prince George's Stakes. I mean,
Tough race.
Yeah,
Loaded.
Loads of talent. I mean, we're going to see some horses come back from Preakness weekend. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, Prince George County, that's race number 8, mile and 8th on the turf.
Yep.
I thought that was a bit of a tricky race to dissect. I've just gone through. I think both of us landed on Pixelate. And of course, in race 9, the Shine Again Stakes came up very, very salty as well. Some absolute headline fillies and mares lining up the undefeated Chubb Wagon. And we have Anna's Bandit returning to the scene once more. Hello, Beautiful. Don't Let Sweet Fool You. I mean, I'm looking forward to the Shine Again Stakes.
That's going to be a good one. Chubb Wagon down inside. She's going to have to come away cleanly, undefeated. Hello, Beautiful, back on the Lasix. You know she brings a lot of speed to the table. She can also rate as well. Don't Let Sweet Fool You is quick. And, Anna's Bandit. Boy, she's got a tough task in return.
She does indeed. I actually got the chance to chat with trainer Brittany Russell this morning about Hello Beautiful returning after a bit of a break. Didn't really have fun in the Barbara Fritchie, but
No.
came back a little bit later than they wanted to. They were aiming her for the ski pad, but because of the developments at Laurel Park, they struggled to get the works in her that were needed. So it wasn't by virtue of her not being ready to go. They just wanted to make sure that she, she'd done the miles and that she was really sort of tuned to the nines to return once more. So I'm looking forward to the shine against it. And in general, the 5 stakes coming up on Sunday. Really, really looking forward to it. Hopefully we'll be on the turf because the majority of them are on the turf, but the weather looks good for this weekend. Let's have a look at the current track conditions because as we highlighted, it is at present a little bit gloomy, but we are looking forward to the 8 races, and the track at present is sloppy.
Sloppy off the turf. Yeah, we're going to deal with that. Now, remember a couple weeks ago that when we had this type of rain, dead on the rail was not a great spot to be. So we're going to watch this again to see if that develops this afternoon. But, yeah, we were off the turf. We do have some scratches. But the good thing, looking ahead to the Stronach 5, I mean, that race had some scratches in the last. Okay, they get you started. But still, no single in there. Not an easy race to get you started. So that always, makes that Stronach 5 a little bit more interesting. And we know that Stronach 5 always pays well.
Agreed.
Almost.
Yeah. Do make note that we're off the turf in that last race. So handicap accordingly. You still have a fair bit of time before race number 8 rolls around. So I dare say you can create a ticket. And we'll talk about it a bit more in a second. Let's get going with that first race on the card. As usual, the early pick 5 starts right here. 12% takeout, one of the lowest takeouts in the industry across the nation here. The Stronach Group offers you that bet with first bet and express bet. And let's talk about these fillies and mares 3-year-old and up, which haven't won a race since December 11th. 6 furlongs the distance here, and there's 2 mares, in here that are reopposing once more. That's Blue Sky Venezuela as well as Parch Ghost. We do have a video of their last race when they were lining up against each other. And you see Parch Ghost just behind there, and I know that Blue Sky Venezuela was a little bit more forwardly placed.
Yeah, Blue Sky Venezuela with the blinkers on. Blinkers went on that afternoon, and boy, she kind of responded, tracked open up, just wasn't able to kind of hold off Peshin Lass, who took plenty of play. I think Peshin Lass was dropping into this condition race that afternoon. But watch Parch Ghost the Gray in the back. Lacked a bit of room, stayed inside up until the 3/16. Once she finds a little bit of room, she comes running pretty well. Today, not going to get a lot of help up front with any kind of pressure. The Blue Sky Venezuela scratched the 2 Chow Luna, who looked like she was going to bring some speed, and maybe even Pete's Pride. So this is going to be Blue Sky Venezuela's race to lose. Maybe the jock wants to get off the inside early when he clears, that being Charlie Marquez, who's riding great guns right now. And look at the record on and off track. 5 starts, 2 wins, 2 seconds, second time blinkers. She's going to be awfully tough to beat here in the opener.
Yeah, I kind of have nothing to add here.
Nope.
She certainly is going to move forward there. I used Parch Ghost underneath. Ended up actually using the number 6. Family Fortune in second. Comes in here off a win. 2 wins in her last 3 starts. Just a hard-knocking mare. Got shuffled around a little bit last time out. It was further back than usual as well. I think perhaps her being closer to the pace helps her a little bit more. But I do believe Blue Sky Venezuela is the mare to beat in the opener here as we'll get going with the second race on the card. That's an off-the-turf event. We are sprinting on the dirt, and also the start of the early pick 4, for which you created your ticket like usual.
That's my staple, the early pick 4. Those pick 6s I don't like to give out, because if I give it out and somebody else bets it and I bet it, because I bet my picks.
Then you
it's
don't
one
get
thing
the
I
single
do.
ticket.
Yeah,
okay.
I do bet my money. I mean, I don't want that. I call me greedy, but I don't want to share. I want to get the whole enchilada.
Okay, we know what
but pick
it is.
4, I'll spread it around a little bit. Here we go. 179 to get you started. Race 3 deep as well with the 1, 2, 3. King Mare will go right to the front in there, I would think. Race 4, another, race 4. I'm going to spread a little bit. 3, 5, 7. And here we're going to end it with the 6 in the Confusion Baby Boy. Outside the box, maybe a little bit of a price play in race 5. That's kind of a high ticket, with the way the fields have kind of developed with the scratches and everything. But there's horses that, where you can't really, once again, single. So 27 investment, I think if we can hit it, let's get something about $100, $125. I'm good with that for the early pick 4 and take that and reinvest later in the card. You want to take it and put it towards your Stronach 5? Go right ahead. Let's try to hit this thing this afternoon.
Absolutely. Let's try to hit this indeed. Race number 2, Filly Mez starter allowance, 5 furlong on the main track. Let's start with your top selection in here behind the couch, 5-year-old mare. She is dropping back from that allowance company last time, which was on the turf. We do have a video of her last efforts on the turf there. Is getting back to the main track, but she's not bad at all either on the main track.
I tell you, either way, it doesn't matter. And one thing she also likes, she likes a wet track. And she's improved nicely here off the claim, comes rallying into a good pace. Beantown Baby, a legit turf sprinter. Just couldn't get to her that afternoon on May the 14th, Black Eyed Susan Day. But coming right back here, yeah, there's not a lot of speed signed on. Hufflepuff, I think, will be to the front. But this race here, she was sharp enough. She was close enough to a faster pace. I think she might be able to keep Hufflepuff in range. And that two-back race was good enough for me. I think she can stalk and pounce this afternoon.
Yeah, that two-back start is what I looked at as well. Tripped her freedom, got loose, and behind the couch was actually the only one in the field that was able to chase her and made up ground and really started closing in. So I thought that was quite a tenacious effort. And indeed, as you mentioned, if you look at her off-track record, she looks sensational in this spot as the rain is continuing to come down. I did indeed go with the number 7 Hufflepuff on top. I think she's going to be tenacious in here. She's going to try and make the lead. She was on the lead battling multiple foes last time out who all ended up either backing up ever so slightly, but she kept on finding a Marvella Nasty got to her, who got the perfect trip set up. So to me, Hufflepuff coming off, this is second after a break. That was a terrific performance if she can continue in that way. Now, she hasn't done as well on the off-going yet, so I am a little worried when it comes to that, but I'm going with her anyway.
Yeah, she's got a lot of fight to her. I'll give her that. She's a little bit of a tough luck. Look at her record. Second and neck, second and length and a half, second and neck, third by 2. She's knocking on the door to get through the condition. Maybe today's the day. If she's left alone on the front, she's going to be awfully tough. So I'll go 179. Guns blazing. I know Dave Robbins going to be joining her tomorrow. She's live here as well. Second off the claim. Needs to break a little bit better than she did last time, but she's just going to be just fine against this group. Really tough to split these three, I believe.
I agree with you. Hufflepuff, as you mentioned, knocking on the door. Second in her last 4 outings. I think it's time for a win for her here. And indeed, guns blazing. I think she enjoys these shorter distances, and perhaps a furlong less is going to help her as well, because she was part of that pace setup with Hufflepuff, and then she just struggled to keep on going. Race number 3 is, of course, the start of the Rainbow Pick 6. I have created a ticket for us all here. $974,564 in the pot. Let's call that 975. 975 grand going in already. We are aiming for that million. I use a price play on top here in race number 3, but I go 4 deep. I use the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 4. The 3 super catch most likely will be receiving a fair bit of money here. Comes in here looking for a 4th consecutive win after cleaning up at Penn National, but I'm thinking that Unequivocal getting back to the 2-turn mile and 16 could be very, very sharp, and it sets up for him. There's a lot of speed in this field, so I use him. Then in race 4, I go 2 deep using the 7 and the 5. The 7 Forced is my top selection for Miguel Vera. Third after a lengthy layoff here, and improved significantly in his last start, and is decent enough on the off-going as well. Race 5, I use the 3, the 6, and the 8 in that spot. The 6 is my top selection in that event. And then in race 6 is my single. A little bit gutsy, but I really feel like the number 9, if Shackled Love comes back to his best, this is a much easier field than anything he's faced in his last couple of outings. Comes out of Federico Tessio, the Chick Lang. I think the Chick Lang was too short for him, and of course he was up against the likes of Mighty Mischief, Jackson Trevor, out and out top class sprinters. He was the upset winner of the private terms at 21-1. If he can return to that form, he has them here by at least 6 legs, in my opinion. But he needs to return to that.
Yeah, he's
so
tough.
That is my worry, but he is my single in here. And then I use the 1, the 4, the 6 in race 7, and then in race 8, the 3, the 5, and the 6. $43.20 ticket. Let's hope my single comes in here. I'm banking on Gary Capuano to have Shackled Love back to his best. hopefully again, because we know that he's talented enough to have these. I just need to see him return to that. So race number 3, 3-year-olds and up, starter allowance for the nickel level, Malin 16. Let's start with your top selection in here, Keith, which is the number 3, Super Catch. As I mentioned, looking for that 4th consecutive win. Has been incredibly tough to beat at Penn National, is making his Pimlico debut. Now my question is, how do these 3 wins stack up here, and how do these Penn figures translate to this circuit?
And that's the key. The Penn, the Parks figures I'm usually going to try to beat some of these horses coming in here.
That's my ammo here. That's what I'm trying to do.
But these two, the 1 and the 3, they've turned into legit starter type horses. They've beaten 2 other than optional horses at Parks and at Penn. They've handled it on off track against this group. There's no Belfour in here, right?
True.
So. I think so. King Morrow is the speed. I think he's going to just try to go right out to the front, take a little pressure maybe from Glengar. But Super Catch, Tim Kreiser's a trainer that's coming down here year in and year out and has done well with these kind of horses. He's had some starter horses in the past that have just reeled off races. Doesn't matter what circuit, they continue and hold form. I think this one does too. You look at a 2-back race, went right to the front against Ravens Delight. That horse has come back and run 2 big races since.
Yep.
I think won a state bred stakes race recently with a buyer of 87. So, yeah, Super Catch I think will take aim of King Morrow if they get kind of tangled up. The 1 or maybe Unequivocal. I agree with you. Unequivocal is probably your best value. If you're going to say, okay, let's beat the favorites, let's key horse and exactas, you're right. The 7 is your best value play.
That's why I picked him. He is my price play, for the pick 6 as well. Unequivocal. If indeed King Morrow and Super Catch latch onto each other and go a bit too fast in front, I feel Unequivocal getting back to that 2-turn distance. The way he closed 2 starts back was very, very strong. Nearly got to King Morrow and Belfour. It was only 3/4 lengths that separated them that day. And he sprinted a week ago, so he has that fitness. I didn't like him sprinting. I remember you liked him a little bit in that spot.
I did.
And I thought he just seems tougher when he closes in and he takes aim. So I'm hoping he'll be able to do so today for trainer Anthony Aguirre. But this is a fun field to kick off the Rainbow Pick 6 with.
No doubt. I mean, I think King Morrow, we talked about him. He got back to form last time, and he was just dead game. They carried that battle from the second turn, almost like the 3-ace pole to the wire. He and Belfour. So, yeah, the other ones, it's going to be a little tough to get them over the top. I mean, that's really going to boost things in this in your early pick 4s, your pick 5s, pick 6s, if you can get it done. But it looks like the 1-2-3-7 to me. But Super Catch, I'll ride Kreiser. Kreiser, he wins when he comes down here. He's proven.
I have all 4 of these, the 1, the 2, the 3, and the 7 in my Rainbow Pick 6, because I feel like any of those could put legitimate claims on this field race. And number 4, first level allowance. We are on the main track here, 5 furlongs, and of course the start of the late pick 5. If you didn't get race 3, you can always jump back in for the late pick 5. No carryover. We did have a huge carryover. What was it? A week or 2 ago.
Yes.
Still a really fun sequence coming up here. Not an easy sequence. We know when the track is a little bit off here at Pimlico, sometimes we do see these bigger priced horses come in. It's worth a try, worth a play here. Let's start with your top selection, Keith, which I use in my exacta. That's the number 5, Nothing Better, for trainer Jorge Duarte Jr. Blinkers come off for this son of Munnings. This is his second start after a bit of a winter break. Wasn't as close to the pace as usual in that turf sprint, and didn't have any answers late. Perhaps needed that fitness and comes in here a better horse for it.
Definitely needed. I wish the trainer's record was a little bit better with this type of layoff. Not really doing well, but I'm just banking on the breeding here. Munnings, you've got a Munnings that's never been on and off track. So that's the key to me. I think he can stay within range. He got some really fast horses early here. This opening quarter, 3-8 is going to be quick. It's sizzling time. Force, we know, is really fast. So I'm thinking this horse can lay maybe mid, 3, 4, 5 lengths out of it, maybe past the 3-8. Going to have to generate and sustain a run. Battle Bus is not really out of it either. Ran pretty well with trouble on the turf last time in a return. Has to improve off of prior dirt numbers. But I'm banking on some of the speed maybe to come back. If Force clears, he's probably going. But this 9's awfully quick, too. He might just press him enough.
Yeah, I use Force as my top select for training Miguel. Vera third after a lengthy layoff and third after a trainer change as well. It really seems like Miguel is starting to bring this gelding back into form again. I think he's going to try and take the leader. And if you look back at his last start on the main track. It was on a muddy surface right here at Pimlico,
Yeah.
over 5 furlongs, and perhaps that was a bit of a tougher field than what he's seen today. Airport was 5th in James F. Lewis
Yes.
before coming into that race and winning. Cry No More came back and won an allowance by I think at least 4 lengths. So no, 6 1/4. I wrote it down. 6
That's right,
1/4
yeah.
lengths. Cry No More won on his next. So that was a tough group, and
That
then
was.
he went on the turf and now back on the dirt again. So I like Forced in this spot, but I also use the number 9 underneath. It's Sizzling Time. Not This Time. I am a little bit worried that Not This Time isn't as strong with his off-going runners. He's 12% on wet dirt. Still not bad at all if you compare it to some of the other sires. But Not This Time is so strong in general that the majority of his figs are 15% or upwards. So this is kind of perhaps his lesser thing.
Yeah.
But we'll see how
His
it's
Achilles
sizzling.
heel, maybe.
Yeah,
We'll see.
maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. And for the fact that if he's going to have to press, force they get tangled. He just didn't show any resistance last time. That's what kind of got me off of him, really today to get him any closer. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe this horse, nothing better than breeding, kind of move him up on this off track because Force should be your favorite in there.
Yeah, I to me, it's the 5 and the 7 are my main interests in this field, and then underneath it's Sizzling Time. I put Little Boat Bandit in there just underneath as a full brother to Anna's Bandit. Got to go with the family, of course. Anna's Bandit making her long-awaited debut, long-awaited start after the break on Sunday again as well. So I just Xavier Perez, Jerry Robb on a speed horse. You never want to leave them out of
Never
your
completely
ticket,
leave out,
especially when it comes to a track that might be playing into their hand. If the track is, I mean, are we still seeing at Pimlico when it's an off-going that you want to be forwardly placed? Because it feels to me like we kind of regress from that a little.
A little bit, slightly, but I mean, I'm looking at this field. I mean, and looking at the card altogether, I still think you want to be within a couple lengths turning from that deep closer. I'd rather prefer that on a drier track, believe it or not, than an off track. But every race is different. You just got to go with how it comes up. But a tendency here, and for all meat, I think is still slightly towards speed.
Agreed. And I'm just going to repeat you there. Every race is different. And
Well,
on that
no, that's not really going out on a limb. But you got to play them as they come. You can, it's tough.
I agree with you there. And the first thing I look for is the flow setup and if things play into the hand of the runner that you like. As we'll take a quick break and we'll be back with the rest of the card after.
And they're off. Second in the 2-path. Ground on her inside. Race. And a quarter of a mile to go, and he's 6 on top. It's last of the 12 as they roll into the backstretch.
Welcome back. We're at Pimlico Racecourse, talking you through the card. Naomi Tucker, Keith Fustel. We're on race number 5, a nickel claimer on the main track, 6 furlong the distance. And let's start with the horse that I use on top in here. And we do have a video spotlight on as well. That's the number 6, Confusion Baby Boy. In his last effort, we didn't see the start here, but he tried to go with them at the beginning because he, in the past, has been more forwardly placed, has been able to take the lead. Couldn't go with them, was out-sprinted early, but look at that rally he's coming up with here.
Yeah, he comes up with a pretty good run here. Company Clown, the winner, has been red hot there for Claudio Gonzalez. And they went quick. They went around that turn 46-1. And watch this coming to the 8th. Kind of got pushed in a little bit. I think that was Cook Brothers kind of drifted in, laying in, which forced the hand of Confusion Baby Boy. Jock had to dive towards the inside. But I like the effort. I mean, he kept on trying to the wire. Only gets beat a couple lengths when it's all said and done. You see this late, almost even like a light steady, 7 or 8 strides from the wire. But he may fall to the front in this field when you really break it down and look at the internal fractions what some of these horses have posted in their most recent races. Yeah, he's got to be a forward factor, as you just pointed out. He showed the speed that day. Against that group, he's got to be forward today, given a good break.
Agreed. So I put him on top for that reason. And as you mentioned, when we saw that stretch run, he was still trying, but really was forced to go towards the inside and really didn't get a clean run at all. Took a bit of his momentum away for sure. So if he gets a better setup here, he might be much more tenacious. I use him on top. You use the number 8, who I have in my exacta as well. Outside the box for trainer Alison Delgado. Do you believe you dug up a stat for her as well?
Yeah, for old friend Alison Delgado, Alison Principe. Last 2 years on the dirt. How about this? Dirt sprints, 4 for 18, 22%. She doesn't run a lot of horses, but I like that stat. 22%, 8 for 18 in the money with an ROI. That's even better. A gaudy 5.92. Outside the box, second off of a break. Showed a little speed last time into a quick pace, right? 46 flat. A little move into it. Won't have to be used as much. Will be a more comfortable flow. Could be on the best part of the track today. I like outside the box that just kind of sit just off of it, make a move, and hopefully hold on through the stretch.
Yeah, I like him too. But as you might have noticed, I'd like to go with my speed horses when it's raining. So I'm going to go with that once more with Confusion Baby Boy. Both of us looked for Just of Us War underneath as well. Comes off of a perhaps not the best effort. Very wide last time out at Charlestown on the 14th of May. Of course, we know that date as the Blackout Susan Day, except it wasn't here. So I guess that's slightly irrelevant to the bettors. But that's how my mind works. Anytime we look at the 14th or 15th May, I think of the wonderful weekend that we had here at Pimlico. But Justice of War, if he gets back to some of his prior efforts, if you look back at his last effort on and off going at Laurel, that was 7th of February 2021, second only by a head, 67 buyer. Can we see that old gelding again?
I don't know if we're going to see that. I don't see it. I mean, because he's just kind of dropped off. He had the good race where he's DQ'd. It might have been overage there that particular afternoon. I can forgive him for the try at Charlestown. We sometimes see horses just go up there and just don't fire whatsoever. But coming back, Geraldo goes somewhere else. We see where he goes to the outside the box. I'm keen around the 6 and the 8.
I am as well. Absolutely.
Okay.
Race number 6, restricted allowance, mile 16 on the main track as well. Let's talk about the horse that we both use, not on top, but can still translate his form here to the main track as well, which is the number 8 Full Dinner Jacket. He was going to play a significant role when we were still on the turf, but it feels like he can translate some of his form to the main track too. In his last start, we do have a video of his last start. He was going the mile and 16. He made quite an aggressive move on the turn there. You can see he's very willing under Fergal Lynch. He saves ground and keeps on finding. Yeah,
Ben and Joe, Broker's Reward, they kind of got tangled up around that final turn. And Fergal does the right thing. He's saving ground. He's doing what you're supposed to do. Just sometimes you get a little bit unlucky, and this horse is going to have a little bit of trouble coming to the wire. Gets steadied, but finishes up with some run. So I tell you,
gets taken in a little bit there, doesn't he?
Yep, there. 3 drifts in a little bit, has to steady. But trying, and you talked about it, he's got okay form on the main track. The problem, doesn't have a lot of speed on the main track. This is a race scratch down, a lot of scratches in here.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12, 14 are out. Shackle Love, it's his race to lose on the front end, stretching back out and getting a little bit of relief. He should just dictate it, I would think. Market Mover's shown speed in the past, hasn't shown it recently. I think Shackle Love is going to be very comfortable up front.
Yeah, 21-1 private terms winner. 3 starts back. Has been running against heavyweights in the Federico Tessio, going mile and 8th. And then sprinting 6 furlong in the Chick Lang. I was saying when I discussed my Rainbow Pick 6 ticket, he was up against Mighty Mischief, Jackson Traveler, the stout Maryland sprinter. That wasn't his game. I didn't like him going sprinting distance, so I prefer this much better. And it seems a very soft field. Now it did come off the turf that he should be able to best on talent alone. So I'm banking on that. He's my single in the Rainbow Pick 6. I really hope Gary Capuano shares my confidence in his abilities there. He's jumping from gate 3. That's how many scratches there are on the inside. I think he can get the better part of the racetrack that way and move forward.
Absolutely. And you look at his last race, the number did fall off, but you see the short comment kind of ease like a protect. The horse wasn't getting there. That's it. We're going to wait for another day. That was an extremely tough field. I was a little surprised to see him in there. He got what he wanted today. They were targeting, it looks like, main track only. They got it. He should bounce back and get back on the form.
Absolutely. Race number 7, 6 furlong on the main track. Fillies and Mares 3-year-old and up, 2 other than optional claimer. Let's start with your top selection here, Dance and Dance. I must admit, I did find them tough to separate in this field. This was a field that you kind of want to see who's going to get the better flow in terms of the setup. Now, Dance and Dance being that stalker, she got the perfect stalking trip last time out. She forced her way out, sat down for a drive. That was a triple-digit U.S. time form pace figure for that last quarter as well. Always very encouraging to see. Second after a small break. I respect her in here. Even though I have her in third, that's just to say that I find them tough to separate.
She rode the best part of the track for a while. You wanted to be inside that day. She got to the inside, then worked out. But what I liked is what we talked about earlier. closing into a lone speed type and almost getting there. There's a little more flow in here, and the off-track record, she's perfect. She's 2 for 2. She seems to be hitting top form right now. I think she can maybe work herself off the inside if needed and rally into it. Hydra looks like the one to beat. I've got lined at 9 to 5. I think she'll be around that, maybe a touch lower, but her form has been impeccable of late, and it doesn't matter what surface, what distance. She's just going great guns now for Jerry Robb.
And even if decoupage might force her or try and take over, Hydra has shown that she's very comfortable being rated and then coming back with yet another run. I remember in that last race, I think it was Gifted Heart who went forward, a couple went forward, and she came back. And she was like, okay. Charlie Marquez, super patient with her, said, all right, lady, let's wait, and we'll go again. And she was very, very willing. And I thought that just showed her flexibility. She's eligible here because she's in for the tag. And to me, she's simply just a touch faster than everyone else. So I expect her to be on the lead, but she doesn't need to. If if she doesn't break well, if it doesn't work out for her, she can let decoupage go to the front. Decoupage was forcing her that day. I think there's a couple of other speedsters in here. But in general, I feel like this race is going to go through Hydra. I use decoupage underneath. I also use Larimar underneath, who you use as well for Jeremiah O'Dwyer. I feel like he's been steadily improving her since she joined his barn.
Yeah, she has. She's got a turn of foot as well. That might have been the race. We canceled because of the high winds that day. She kind of inherited and was able to kind of control things up front. She's going to get some more heat today. Hydra's going to be kind of sitting just off of her. If they kind of get tangled up, though, I think Dance and Dance Decoupage, she's been steady. Decoupage had a perfect trip 3 races back. Couldn't quite generate it, but she still fits on her best. Quality field, 6 horses, very tough to separate. Dance and Dance, so I'm going to ride that off-track record in her form right now. She looks like she's peaking to me.
I like it. I like it. A bit of a play in a field that is quite, quite salty in a way. I think it's a strong field. I'm hoping for Hydra. I think she's just such a tenacious mare, and she seems to just, still be at the top of the game despite being, what is she, a 5-year-old now? I think she's a 5-year-old. Yeah, 5-year-old, still doing terrifically well. We'll finish things off with race number 8. Of course, the start of the Stronach 5 sequence frequently kicks off with us here at Pimlico as well. And we have 2 races at Gulfstream Park, which I always like to see. It's a circuit I'm a bit more familiar with. And then Golden Gate Fields and Santa Anita Park in the mix. As a handicapper, you always want to keep your finger on the pulse to make sure you know what's what on all those different circuits. I created a ticket for us here as well, using my first 2 selections here in this opening leg, the 3 and the 6 here. We'll talk about that in 2 seconds. I'll just move along with some of the other races. Gulfstream Park, a mile on the dirt. I used the 4 and the 7 in that field. I think Tonalism is going to get that perfect stalking trip. That is the number 4. And then the number 7, Grazer, if I say that correctly. Similar kind of, outside post, has tactical ability. I think he can jump up and do something here at a similar level too. And Tonalism wasn't in for the tag in his last couple and now in for the tag in here to allow him to run in the claiming 20. So I think that's kind of an aggressive, significant move. Race number 3 at Golden Gate Fields. I used 2 horses again, the 2 and the 7. Handsome account drawn towards the inside. The blinkers go on. I think that means that this 3-year-old gelding's just going to sit a touch closer than he has in the past. But on his debut, that wasn't a bad effort whatsoever. And then the 7, Sleepover, is dropping down, trying to break his maiden as well. Race number 3, I used the 1, 2, and the 3. I think Navy Queen dropping back down for trainer John Sadler is going to be very tough. 6 furlongs on the turf at Santa Anita Park. Vela is going to be strong too. There's a fair few dropping aggressively here to the claiming 25 level from that allowance state bred company. So I want to be on board if they do get the win. And the Majestic Gigi, if she's going to be a runaway leader on the lead, if she steals it, I want to be a part of that. Race number 8, the final leg. I used the 1, the 3, and the 4. The 4 is my top selection there. Causalistic, first time gelding, and comes in here on the back of a win. Has had a small break, but that's to be expected if he comes up as a first time gelding. $72 flat. Now we know it's the $1 intake, so that's how you get a little bit more investment, but you also get quite frequently a good payout. So it is worth playing, isn't it?
No, absolutely. It usually pays very well, much better than a parlay. So, yeah, $72. It's Friday. You got paid. Let's hope everybody got paid. We'll see.
I like it. And get some cash in for your weekend.
That's the best part about it. You're working on Friday at the racetrack. Get that check and run it right through the window.
And hopefully get some return on your investment. But we know that the Stronach 5 Overlay City, I do believe Peter Yellow
That's
calls
it.
in, and I agree with that. Very, very good
Take
return.
me down to Overlay City. Yeah.
Absolutely. Race number 8, our final race on the card here, claiming 16 event, 5 furlongs on the main track. Both you and I landed on the number 3, Kickstarter, the main track only entry for Dale Capuano. First off the claim for a very sharp outfit. Must have had some issues because he'd been sidelined for 266 day. A protect move in here is not in for the tag. Is also by Jumpstart, who is pretty good on the off-going, 15% winners, which is one of his higher figures for his runner. So I like this move, and I think Dale places this gelding according to his ability.
Yeah, fresh and should be sharp. The works are good leading into this, and you're talking about the protect move for me. There is some questionable speed. I know it's 5/8, but there's still some horses that just don't seem like they even want to get that. Stretch of Truth is very quick, but he's been giving away kind of a little bit sooner than what I thought. Even in that race at Monmouth, I thought he would have carried it a little bit further. So he's going to get some pressure, Stretch of Truth. I think Kickstarter Ruiz, this one stays, pay the kid, scratches the other Dale Cap, leading to me to believe this is the one right here.
That's
so
what I
let's
thought
go.
as well.
Yep.
The other Del Capuano entry was out because I was kind of flip-flopping between the two of them, and then the 10 came out. I was like, there we are. The number 3 is the go-to. Yeah, Stretch the Truth will most likely be pressuring the pace. Quick turnaround after that second placing off the turf event at Monmouth. Was rushed to the lead, but was no match that day for an even money favorite now this time, who came up and collared him. But I thought it was a good effort nonetheless 12 days ago. He used the number 12, Officer Country, Charlie Marquez, Mary Epler. Now, in his last 4, has struggled over different surfaces, over different distance as well. Put me off a little bit.
Yeah, he's on his home track. Yeah, he's got one race over it. Not too great. But I see a race on the page. We're going back Charm City Band, a horse that would fit perfectly against this group. I'm just looking for a little bit of value. Could be on the better part of the racetrack out there. Doesn't have the kind of speed as some of these other ones. But I think that they may come back to him. I think he's a price user, and you're exact as in tries. Not saying he's going to win it, but I wouldn't leave him out here.
Yeah, I used the number 8 Street Prayer underneath as well. Wide trip last time out, second start after a layoff. Lightly raced in comparison to some of the others in this field for a good outfit and trainer, Michael Trombetta. And that will do us for the handicapping section, and we'll move on to lightning round. As usual, the first day of the racing week, we start by updating you on the current jockey standings. Now, the standings have been rolled over from the Preakness meet into the summer meet. Charlie Marquez still leading the way as a journeyman now, 5 wins ahead of a really, really good riding JD Acosta.
Absolutely. JD still holding steady. He's holding sway. He's getting some mounts for Claudio and some other quality trainers. So he's riding well. Cedeno doing, I'm sure, a lot more up Delaware, Toledo, and Russell. But Marquez, lost the bug. It hasn't slowed him down one bit. That's the key as a jack. Keep the momentum. Just keep it going. You don't want that little chilly streak, especially, if you would have lost the bug and gone cold. So he's staying hot. He's improving. I've been impressed with his riding skills.
Agreed. And then as for the trainers' standings, not much changed there. Claudio Gonzalez still clear of runner-up Kieran McGee. We've talked about this before. Claudio keeps churning out the numbers and the winners.
Yeah, he does. And he's got some live ones in again this afternoon, edging away slightly. The numbers really speak for themselves for him, though. He just strengthened numbers for Claudio. I thought Kieran was going to maybe able to kind of get the top spot. He's going to have to heat things up a little bit. But he's doing great, though. I mean, Kieran's percentage very high. Yep.
Yeah, there's a couple of trainers who are hitting at very high winning percentages. So, well done to all of them, and keep up the good work. We couldn't help ourselves. We already started talking about the Shine Again Stakes at the beginning of this show this morning. Chubb Wagon reopposing, undefeated. And we do have a video, I believe, of her Skipa victory, which was incredibly tenacious. That was on Preakness Day right here. And she bested some, not like some out-and-out tough mares coming in. I think she was hoping to find an easy spot. But this is a salty field. Hello, Beautiful. Don't Let Sweet Fool You. Anna's Bandit, 11-time stakes winner, making her seasonal debut. Whew, how do you see this developing?
Yeah, she better be sharp out of the gate. She's got to get positioned, cannot have a hiccup with the likes of Hello Beautiful just to her outside. It was very, very talented for the Brittany Russell barn. I think this is going to be one heck of a horse race. This is going to
Agreed.
be her toughest task to date, Chubb Wagon.
Agreed. I'm very much looking forward to the Shine Again Stakes. And then, of course, I had to mention that Street Loot, or champion 2-year-old filly, is making her turf debut in the Stormy Blues, which is the final race on the card. 5 furlongs on the turf. And I do remember having spoken with Jerry Robb frequently. He wanted to get her on the turf. He wanted to see how she will fare on the grass, and he's confident.
Yeah, I tell you, that race was very difficult to line. I think I made Christophe Clement's horse a slight favorite. The name's escaping
Honey
me.
Pants.
What? Yeah, I want Honey Pants.
Honey
Yeah.
Pants.
Honey Pants has been established. She's run against some really good horses, albeit maybe a little bit longer on the turf.
Yeah.
But I think she's going to be okay here at the 5/8. But talking about Street Loot, I went back at the breeding. Second Dam was all right. She did well sprinting on the turf, I think, out in California. So, yeah, rightly so. Jerry's anticipating, her appearance on the turf course, how she's going to do. The breeding suggests on the bottom side she could be all right. She brings that kind of lower 80 number that she's brought on the dirt to the turf. She's going to be right there in the mix, no doubt about it.
Yeah, very much looking forward to the stakes action coming up this Sunday. But of course today, Rainbow Pick 6 carryover. Stronach 5 starts in race 8. That will do it for us this morning. Good luck with all your selections, and we'll hope to see you at the track.
You got it. Good luck and stay dry.